getting on. Sat by the fireside, pondering on. Picture book, pictures of your mama, taken by your papa a long time ago. Picture book of people with each other to prove they love each other a long time ago. Picture book, picture book.
And here we go with Pegasus Park in the background. Some overcast skies, but it's all good here at Gulfstream Park with some sun shining on the front side. And that green turf course wins the majority on the program this afternoon. We run 10-6. Will be run over the grass starting at about 12:40. Hello again, everyone, and hope you're doing all right as we kick off week 3, day number 9 of the championship season. Ron Nicoletti, Jason Blewett alongside. Well, dude.
He knows every number. That's what I just love it.
I know. I was going to say we ran 3 opening weekends, and we ran 5 last weekend.
So this is
it is day number 9, or as Baba Booey would say, day number 9.
I saw a foo-foo running somewhere, a fofo, some horse running
Oh.
Thursday or Friday.
Oh, I must have missed that
Yeah,
name because
yeah.
I finished Thursday, and I've got Friday done as well.
guess
But,
so.
all right, so who did we have last year? Was that Canadian? Oh, it was Fafa.
No, this is fofo, I think.
Fofo. All right, we'll see if there's any relation to the great Baba Booey. Anyway, everybody, welcome. Glad you're with us here for this Wednesday live edition of Gulfstream Park today. We roll ahead. Ronnie's obviously chomping at the bit. Very good 8th race on tap, which we'll talk about a bit later, led by Frostmorn. And as we go forward, a couple of points with Friday. First and foremost, we've got the website back working again, which we're happy about. We've got, and we can finally unveil, we had to cancel it last week, but good avocation in the hot seat coming up on this opening Beat the Expert.
Yeah, always a good time with Beat the Expert. Pick more winners in case you get a chance to win one of those cool polo shirts. Doesn't fit her because I think she was wearing mine or yours that day. They didn't have a small in there. So, but it's always a great time, and we'll see if you can beat Acacia. She's pretty sharp.
Indeed she is. Little Friday the 13th Beat the Expert here in the middle of December. Now, moving forward again, we've got Frostmorn and 4 fellow stakes winners waiting in the wings in our featured 8th race today. That plays, obviously, a pivotal part, and in many respects, I think, is a nice anchor-type feature on this day number 9 in the Jackpot Rainbow 6. We left off, Ronnie, a raucous house here Sunday afternoon for the 3rd Classico del Caribe afternoon here at Gulfstream Park. But in the end, despite Paco pulling off a near $100 upset in the Caribbean Derby, everybody was covered, and we've got that nice carryover.
Yeah, $250,000 plus, and you see in race number 1, we got a pretty nice carry in the Super High 5. And if you like Boston Beauties, who's currently up there 1-2, maybe it's a Super High 4.
Yeah, could be. No, a popular favorite for sure. Ronnie and I both like her, and she's taking a big drop in the first race for Top Connections. And the more I look around, Todd Pletcher is very much about the 2 bookending legs in this Wednesday Fast and Firm early pick 5. I opted to stand alone of the 2 Pletcher fillies, or Pletcher 2-year-old turf horses, because Todd has the 7 Summer to Remember, who's going to be a clear favorite in the 5th. But I said, let me cover my bases with Lomacki Forest. Maybe that horse didn't like the GPW turf. And of the 2 Pletcher monster favorites, if you will, Ronnie, what I'm trying to say is I prefer, as far as a single goes, I just have a little more confidence in the number 2 Boston Beauties, and why not? I mean, she's taking a drop today. She's also coming out of a very bad trip, and this was a race we'll backtrack to on November 20th. I mean, it looked like she couldn't lose on paper, and we had talked saying maybe she won't like the turf course. She is taking a little bit of a weird drop. Watching it, the pan, which is our first look, you'll see Edgar Zayas be a little tentative and a little bit timid between horses, basically a little further off the quarter pole as they get closer to the finish line. It's a little murky, though, and opaque as to what was going on. You could tell, obviously, Edgar is not comfortable in letting her run and really trying to drive her to the finish line. And when you go back, That's Ronnie's long shot closing on the outside, by the way, and Sensational, who's running later. But take a look at Boston Beauties. Again, we've got her highlighted, and she's in the aqua blue cap. I mean, this was like trying to get on 95 North for me after the races at Gulfstream. I mean, there was nonstop traffic. I'm not saying she would have won, but clearly she would have been closer had she had a clear shot per se off the quarter pole.
And it's great when you show the head on because the pan shot you really can't see. It looks like he's just not going, but he was getting everybody was crisscrossing in front of him. And just the drop to the 25 level return from that couple of month freshen. You saw the trouble this horse had beaten 2 lengths. That's 50 maidens, and that's across town at Gulfstream Park West.
Definitely. Going in, I mean, the race boils down to Boston Beauties, who might not by race time be any higher than 1 to 2 or 3 to 5. The number 10 horse, Ruthila, who's got that good turf race 2 back, and everybody else. There's going to be some big prices in the field to start that super high 5 and the opener on this day, number 9. We hit the main track. We move on to the second race. We've got a group of 3 and up. $25,000 maiden claimers waiting, and look at that, a nice cold super. Had you picked, let me ask you this, the Efren Loza firster?
No.
Who scratched?
Not.
Oh,
No,
because
I
I
did
had
not.
picked that horse, the 7, who's the lone scratch. So obviously Ronnie with the defection of the 7, I scratch into the 4. Friendly fella. You got speed. You got a good recent race.
Yeah, turning back to 3/4 of a mile, due for lead, yielded late when finishing 3rd, going 6.5 across town. Kathleen O'Connell, Hiro Rendon in the saddle this afternoon. He's royalty. Night going to the Mike Yates barn. I did have the horseshoe at the top in 3rd, so I moved the 1 up to 3rd.
Who's got the good connections? I mean, you've got Sagamore, you've got Stanley Huff, and I especially like Louis just riding in general. The number 1 not now ran, but you do have a horse who has not run basically since the start of Kentucky Derby week at Churchill Downs and has just been a non-factor in 5 races.
That race was a really good race, produced 4 next out winners from 10 starters, but it was way back and was, a key to Churchill Downs, as you mentioned, a while back. That horse can run okay in that spot. I think those are the logical 3, put it that way.
Definitely. And then if you wanted to go 4 deep in a 6-horse field, the Ralph Nix first or Tizabet, probably 4th or 5th choice, depending on how live that horse is. Anyway, let's move on to the 3rd. We get back on the turf course, and as we welcome in this cast of a 3 and up filly mare 2 lifetime claimers, I think this race is, or at least the one run at GPW on November 6th, featuring Ronnie's pick out Pillis and my top selection, the 5 Grand Diamond. It's a noteworthy replay, not because anything crazy or really eventful happened, but you've got a Pillis who's doing her thing on the point right now as the number 7 horse for trainer Fernando Abreu. Today, moving forward, Grand Diamond, who once again puts in a game run but comes up a little short, that's kind of been who she's been, actually, or that kind of is who she's been in her 10 starts to date with only 1 win in the 4 seconds. I'm wondering today, Ronnie, if there's enough speed to get Grand Diamond over the hump, even though she does like to idle a little bit when she makes the lead or gets close to it.
Yeah, and the reason I went without Pillis, who finished behind her last time out, as you just shown that, was just because of the speed. I just thought maybe this horse, I think, finds that great spot to try the 2 lifetime claimers. I would not leave either one off. I split him with the 3 horse in here, Charlie Anna, who's a lightly raced 3-year-old daughter of Overdriven. Debuts locally, showed speed. Faded to 3rd, 5 panels, Robbie Rajiv. So more of a speed play.
Yeah, I was going to say, you're all speed.
I'm all speed.
And it's funny, I came in, at least as far as the potential win goes, I came in from just a different direction, taking Grand Diamond, who to me does look like the best closer going in. But again, the catch with her is she does. You saw it in the replay we just looked at. She's got a little bit of chandelier in her.
And I've been picking speed since all 8 first days. It's not been the overriding thing at the track. It's been pretty fair. Talking about the turf course, there's been no one. Sometimes you got to think 5 days in a row they just go to lead and win. That has not been the case. So you sort of got to hope you get a good trip with these turf races.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, 4th race. Speaking of trips, we harken back to the main track. We're out in distance going 7 furlongs, 2-year-old filly, maiden special weight types. And you've got 2 snowbird ship-ins in the 8 who we both picked. And here's Fashion Baby. Babe's last start, by the way. You can check it out up at Monmouth Park in the middle of October, and the 2 Velvet Crush. They are the 2 ship-ins, and to me, it's very key with this filly. Not so much in the sense that she had kind of an illusory type steady. She wasn't going to win this race. She pulls up alongside Between in the Gary West colors, and she just starts to labor a bit. The winner seems to drift over ever so slightly. You see Paco, hit the brakes. Today, what I'm hoping, Ronnie, aside from the Jason Service factor, 7 around 1 turn off that 2-turn race in which she was just tired and almost on empty when they hit the quarter pole. I think 1 turn's going to help her.
Yeah, and that's what the reason I picked it for, the exact reasons you did. Jason Service, Paco's going to be back on board. I like this, turning back to 7. Was second going 6. You saw the one going 1 mile and 70 yards. I want to show you stat, the horse that I think that you put in 4th. I did not put on my ticket. I just wanted to show his stat on Shug McGay. It's a cautionary stat. Shug McGay, with his 2-year-old first-time starters, maiden special in the dirt. He's only 458, 7%, 38% of the money, and $1.15 return on investment. The reason I'm showing this, we wanted you to know that Shug usually gives him a race before he started. And I just wanted to put it out there. I thought it was an interesting stat. When I looked at it, I said, I'm going to put it out there and see what they say.
All right, she's the Phipps homebred. Good to see the black and cherry with Tyler Gaffleone, which is pretty nice. Tyler G will be riding that Malibu Moon homebred as the Phipps and Shug team up there in the 4th. The other, much like a Fashion Babe for Service, who we just looked at, the other key ship-in who needs to be mentioned is the Tappet filly and the 2 Velvet Crush. And I see her, or at least last time out, she ran fine. Came up a little short, though, at 1 mile at Churchill Downs. And much like a Fashion Babe, I think maybe a little less is more may help her out going 7 this afternoon.
Yeah, just one note on the number 5, So Dear. I have sister to that 1.1 million earner, Silver Wagon, and I have to Rehoboth. Debuts at 7 panels. Got some nice breeding. And David Fawkes is pretty sharp with horses turning back in distance. He's always over 20%. It's just a horse, if you're putting your tries together, I think you got to have that one on your ticket.
And it's funny. She's a Florida bred and kind of a modest or at least stallion in Fury Cap Cora. I know the dam, obviously, Silver Wagon in the family.
Right.
He was a good horse for Rick Dutcher. I mean, that's going back a while. But it does raise my eyebrows a bit. Not only do you correctly have David Fawkes so good second time out, it's a Florida bred, and for the 2nd straight race, he seems pretty intent on running her against opens.
Yeah, so we'll see. I think she's going to run okay in there. I mean, Fashion Babe on that performance going to take all the money and is absolutely the one to beat. But use Velvet Crush and So Dear underneath on your Trier Supers.
All right, we'll take a little time out with the first 4 down. We chase a rainbow after this. And we're back, everybody, on this live Wednesday edition of Gulfstream Today. Ronnie and Jason from our clubhouse studios. And just looking at that Pegasus World Cup commercial, we've got a little bit of a, you would think, a dress rehearsal here Saturday in the Grade 3 Harlan's Holiday. I know Bodie Express has got his eye on that race.
Yeah, Bodie Express turned out to be one of my favorite horses. I love the way this horse has come back after that debacle in the Preakness, where he dumped the rider. I like this horse. I think he's got a big shot in the Pegasus World Cup.
Yeah, he's backed up that crazy as a maiden 75 to 1 second behind Maximum Security in the Florida Derby. And again, I know his connections. Gustavo Delgado wants to run in the Pegasus Dirt, and he'll get his dress rehearsal here Saturday afternoon. A day before, it is Friday the 13th, if you can believe that, folks. And not only do we have Acacia Courtney up in our Beat the Expert, we've got another round nationally in the Stronach 5, in which we're a little bi-coastal action. We got Golden Gate Fields in there in that second to last leg. and we're banging out basically, Ronnie, 5 races in about 70 minutes, give or take.
Yeah, we got leg C at Gulfstream Park and leg E. And Golden Gate Fields, I think it's closing weekend of their full meet. I'm not positive. I think yeah, it is. It's closing weekend. So Golden Gate Fields up there. The bane of my existence sometimes. I actually hit it a couple of times, and I lose the Gulfstream races. So it pays great, 12%.
Well, Ronnie's also, by the way, folks, he's being a little modest because it wasn't all that long ago, maybe a month and a half ago, your ticket hit, $70 ticket, give or take, hit for $1,500 or $2,000. So you have connected at a GGF, and I want you, as we switch gears again, Ronnie, and we come home to Gulfstream, I want you to connect this afternoon here on the Rainbow Six.
Well, I got a $38.40 ticket today, and it did go too deep in here. And I really believe that Summit to Remember is going to be the odds-on choice in this thing. Coming out of a race, got beat by a Grade 1 winner.
What price is he on the line? Let me see your program while you're going through the ticket.
There you go. And then I use Super Energizer. I really like the way Mike Trombetta goes from synthetic to turf, so I didn't want to get beat by that horse. 3 deep in race number 6. My long shot is in race number 6, Sensational. Stretching out, closed really well at 5 furlongs, but I did go 3 deep in there. And race number 9 confused me. I mean, the big favorite is the 4 in there. I went 4 deep in there. I'm not sold on that
I
horse.
know what you mean.
I'm just not sold
Yep.
on him. And then in the last race, I lost one of the horses I really like, so I went 3 and 11 for 38.40. Race number 9. The big favorite, 9-5 on the morning line. Forget his name right, the 2nd to 4. But he was like, I'm not sold on him at 9-5.
No, that's that Navarro ship and drop
right.
down. He's the horse to beat, and his A game will bury that field. Therein lies the sticky situation. He might not show up with his A game and has burned some money in the past. Little 311 action for you in the cash out leg, which I like. And we've got again Summer to Remember, who Jay's got at 8-5, and a clear favorite on the morning line, and he should be because he's coming out of a race. You're a big sort of key race, strong last out effort, a fan, and as we backtrack. Basically 4 months on the day, back to August 10th at Saratoga. You can see Summer to Remember got a great ride from Andy Franco. I mean, basically just sat up close inside in the pocket. He'll be second best behind Decorated Invader for our good friends over at West Point. I mean, he's a legitimately talented horse.
Yeah, he went up to win the Grade 1 Summer at Woodbine in his next start, so he wins a Grade 1 race. But there was a couple of other winners out of this race, so if you like key races. And I just thought that Summer to Remember in this particular spot, coming back for Todd, $200,000 son of Summer Front would run well. But as I mentioned, the number 5's Super Energizer, I like this horse because he showed promise sprinting on the turf at Monmouth. He goes back to the grass. He shipped up to Woodbine. He dual for lead. He finished third, going 7 furlongs on the Tapeta. So I looked up Mike Trombetta with his horses going synthetic to turf, all levels. He's 11 for 53, 21%, 38% in the money, and 322 is the return of investment. So I like that angle, so I didn't want to get beat. Summer to Remember, I was close to singling it, but I just like this stat.
Good
going
stat.
From
I like it, too. I like that stat.
So,
I bet you, not to cut you off, Ryan,
Right.
bet you a lot of horses, or a good chunk of that sample, I bet you they were horses not going synth to turf at Woodbine, but rather synth to another state to run on the turf like this.
Yeah, I would think so, too.
Right?
Absolutely, yeah, because that doesn't happen too much up there for Mike Trombetta.
Yeah.
He's more known, down on on the American side of the border.
Yeah,
So
right.
His Super Energizer, that was the reason you put him on the ticket, but I think Summer to Remember is absolutely the one to beat.
Yeah, I put Lamacki for second, who got bet and was, again, pretty strong 3-1 for Cassie first out at GPW behind Sol Volante, who beat him a good ways. But, again, that money first out does make me wonder, did he not like the turf course over there? And you got Ricardo Santana sticking around to ride. No fairgrounds on this Wednesday, so we'll see what Ricardo can do from the rail. We move on to race number 6, and we'll start that late pick 5 on this fast and firm. Day number 9, it sees me using a 2-horse spread here, the 1 and 2. And like Ronnie, scratches down the line in race number 10. It kind of threw a monkey wrench into my original opinion there. And with no Cordell and no Prado filly towards the outside, it looked like she was going to get a fast pace to attack in the nightcap. I'm just going to stand alone with the favorite in that race. I think that's Awesome Roar, who does look pretty good. It might just be the most talented filly remaining in the field after scratches. But I see, Ronnie, you went 4 deep in the 9th. And again, you're probably dealing with the 4-horse for Jorge Navarro, who could be around even money or so, 6-5. Like you, I just don't fully trust that horse.
Yeah, I didn't either. So, but I'm looking at the sixth race here with the 1 and the 2. The 2 sensational, I think 8 or 10 to 1 on the morning line. Who's my long shot today? And I'm glad you used him on the ticket this afternoon.
Her first race was really good, or her first race.
Yeah, stretching out to a mile after taking, sort of took the overland route in that race when rallying wide to defeat those 50 maidens. That was going 5 furlongs. It was on the turf across town. It's Carlos David, Hyra Rendon, which I really like the way he rides on the turf. This is a daughter of big drama. I think the mile is going to be really nice for this horse, and I thought you'd get a little bit of a price there. But now that you picked it, and I'm not so sure.
Well, I thought she ran great, got a good figure, and I don't know how much stock you can put in if Boston Beauties comes back and wins today.
Right.
What is she, 1-9 right now? I mean, because she's dropping for maiden 25. But the point is, I think that's a live maiden 50 field. I also, speaking of live, I see Steve Caceres and Lily Caceres off the claim here with the horse, moving from more of a low-profile barn that maybe doesn't win all that much to their operation in the one Yolanda's Pride, and that's good enough for me with a horse who clearly, Ronnie, in a big way has come to hand on the turf.
Yeah, and they just do an excellent job with their, off the claim. So I had that horse a little further down my ticket. Extravagant Rosie, hoping to bounce back locally, followed a maiden spaceweight victory here. She stalks, she fades. Again, that's in the 75 juvenile fillies at GP West. Armando de la Cerda, Louis Saez. Here's another one. Maybe she just didn't like the turf over there. She ran pretty nice over there. So that's the angle I'm using with the 3 Extravagant Roses.
Yeah, no, this looks like the best spot she's been in. She's also home where it doesn't have to run at GPW. And, this is the best spot in terms of just overall depth she's been in since the summertime here in South Florida. Let's move on to race number 7, shall we? It's a 3 lifetime 6250 claimer. We're on the dirt going a mile. And you and I were talking downstairs. I feel as though, I don't know about the 7-2 on the 6 speed app, because to me this race is about speed app and how you want to progress with this horse off what was a pretty big drop for Calabrese and Safi last time out.
Yeah, and Jose D'Angelo jumped in and grabbed this horse off the claim, turns back to the 1-turn mile, responded to that drop down we were talking about with a commanding 6-length score, going a mile and 70 yards across town against those 2 lifetime claimers. I see it as a total lateral move. I like the turn back to the mile, and Jose D'Angelo, not a lot of starters yet, but he does a good job.
Yeah, very good job. To me, and it's funny, Ronnie, because Kazar Moon and General Obvious are the 2 sort of big drop downs in the race, and they're both shorter than Crammy Boy and Speed App as far as just looking at the program. But to me, they were what this race was about. Again, I think Speed App will be favored, whereas Crammy Boy may be second choice here. And I just look at this horse running well for Walder off the claim, and given the kind of Saturday he had, maybe he's starting to really kind of get into a nice groove.
Yeah, and this one was going to try the 1-turn mile. If you're not aware, we've told you this many times, a 2-turn mile across town. It's a 1-turn mile. I like the way this one stalked the pace. Only came up that length short. I think Tyler Gaffleone named to ride. That horse is going to run very well in there. I had to use both.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I'm going to let Kazar Moon and General Obvious beat me. I'm all Crammy Boy and Speed Out, much like Ronnie, just taking that box in race number 7. Featured 8th race, a really nice feature, too. We lost the 2 Sand Dancer as an early scratch. That leaves us with a field of 5, and that's a noteworthy number because, and you'll elaborate in a few seconds on why you like Gemontier from the outside, but I will say, aside from having more of a cozy, compact cast here, all 5 of the starters are prior stakes winners. Obviously, though, the bar, and just in terms, Ronnie, of a horse who's done some pretty good things, it's led by Frostmourne. Now, he has not run in quite some time. Let's take a trip down memory lane collectively and look at a horse who back mid-March in 2018 was a game winner here at Gulfstream. I noticed, too, Ronnie, going back and watching a turf race, we obviously ripped up the turf course after the summer meet that year, and you could see a really big difference with the course that we have now, which is just, world-class and outstanding. But Frostmourne's obviously very good. The question with him becomes, what's the deal with the soon-to-be 6-year-old who hasn't run in close to 14 months?
And he's coming back as a gelding. He's a grade 2 winning son of Spite down, so they gelded him. And I just can't see Christoph bringing this horse back if he didn't think he could run. He's got a bunch of stamina-enhancing workouts, IRAD-OTs. He's a winner of more than $600,000. So he's a logical choice. And I respect the connections, and that's why the 14-month lamb. I don't know if the horse needs a race, but they didn't bring this horse back just to have a horse in their barn.
No.
He does not need that.
No.
But I did go with Gementia, who likes the Gulfstream turf. 4 starts, 2 wins, 2 seconds. Solid summer campaign in which he was third going a mile. That was up at Saratoga, and he comes back and he wins at Kentucky Downs. I still can't figure out that track, where the stretch is or anything. MSC Al Jaramillo rides. I like this horse's campaign all summer long.
He's got a big, on paper, I mean, he's got a huge tactical edge,
Right.
and he's good and likes Gulfstream. Now, he's a major player. What do we get from the 4 projected? Here's a little backstory with this horse, who's danced some pretty good dances at a high level in the past. In fact, that picture is of his last victory, which was back in late September up at Laurel Park. He's riding an 0 for 12 streak. However, Eddie Keneally, who I've always considered best, or at least really in his comfort zone with young, lightly raced 2-year-old maidens per se, he's done pretty well acquiring older horses just off trainer changes, and this horse is a trainer change off Chad Brown, and in fact, Ronnie was purchased privately last month at Keeneland, November.
Yeah, and you got on the bottom of your list, Paco won 12 races here last week. You always got to put that in there. So this horse can run well. I went with the 1 Sterling Drive, turning back for Milt Wolfson. Ira Rundon, you got to root for Milt. So that's why I put that one on my
Yeah,
ticket.
veteran
But
trainer for sure.
I think the 3. The 6 is the one to beat recently.
Right.
If the 3 comes back into the old Frostmore, it's over.
Yeah, Frostmore
Yeah,
is
yeah.
the story of that race. All right, race number 9. We'll turn the page. We'll do the late double quickly here. We'll wrap up the action on the main, in fact, with this 62.53 and up claimer. Looking at the 4, Jersey Joe B, you've got a horse who at times has been a little inconsistent and erratic. I wonder if this is part maybe it's twofold here. They only claim this son of Congaree for $5,000. They've won a couple of races, Jorge Navarro up north. And I wonder on the other side of the coin, maybe this is a little part frustration with a barn who, although a good sport through it, I know it was getting under Jorge. He was happy to win that race here Sunday, but, I mean, the stats are what they are. He's 1 for 29 here at the meet.
Yeah, he was wiping his brow, but I went with Salsa Drops. If you look at this horse's back figures, indicates he can defeat this group with his best. And you saw on my ticket I went 4 deep because I was confused in that race. I'm be the first to admit it.
No, I'm confused too. And let me also just wrap up quickly with saying Jersey Joe B might also be best at Monmouth Park. It does seem like he's run his best races up in Jersey. We'll wrap up the day here, day number 9 here, this second Wednesday of the season, with a $16,000 3-and-up Filly Mare Turf Claimer. Scratches and early scratches are kind of, in addition to the presence of the 3 Awesome Roar, who's going to be favored, you have no number 6 Cordell and also the 10, who I had originally liked and seemed kind of crazy.
Yeah, I had both of those horses on my ticket, but I did have Solarte on top, who's dropping to this level, shipped from Colonial into Gulfstream West, finished third at the distance against those 40-starter optional claimers, like the work that Sarah Nagel does, and you get the apprentice Kristen Torres in the saddle.
All right, sounds good. Very good barn.
Yeah.
Very shrewd barn here, sending out Ronnie's top selection. He's 3-11 in the nightcap. I'm going to go 3-4, and we wish everybody the best of luck. Pete Aiello coming up next with those scratches and changes.